The patients kept crashing.
I don't want this to be run-of-the-mill stuff like, oh, well, we lost 10 patients today, just another day.
This time is about standing firm and holding out and still having faith.
Our Daily Bread Ministries 6-episode YouTube series, Instruments of Peace. The series is a look at healthcare workers on the front line fighting COVID-19 in some of the hardest impact regions of the world. Will Oechsler, Senior Vice President of U.S. Operations with Our Daily Bread Ministries, joins us this morning to talk about it. Morning, sir. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Dave. How are you this morning?
Doing great. Tell us a little bit about the series, how it came about as the pandemic started, and why it was put together like it was.
Well, we were just inspired to start capturing the stories of healthcare workers around the world who were really on the front lines, and even some of the folks who supported those spouses and partners. So we followed the stories through personal diaries of the healthcare workers. They just started to record their days as they were going into COVID in some of the toughest areas of the world, Johannesburg, outside of London, Manila, New York City, Detroit. And we had them capture the stories on personal diaries, and then we interviewed them at the end to do a retrospective of their lives over that past year, something that really gripped everyone, but especially those that are on the front lines.
Absolutely. And we knew a little bit at times how bad things were in certain parts of the country, New York City here nationally, in the United States and other parts of the world. But we really didn't necessarily have that look inside or get it that often like this series provides.
That's right. Very, very compelling, heart-wrenching at times, just the unknown and the fear that healthcare workers had to deal with every day when they walked in, but also what they had to deal with when they went home. And sometimes when they went home alone because they needed to be isolated from those that they loved. Just for not wanting to endanger their own families or maybe a spouse with a compromised immune system. And so they were, on the front lines, both at home and at work.
Interesting to talk about faith on the front lines in that series when you think about something that might be uplifting on the face of it by that title, and yet this was in the middle of it. This was in the depths of it. How do you reconcile those two things?
Well, they felt called, all of them, to work in the healthcare industry, and they really had their faith tested during this time. And somehow they had to keep going. There's a wonderful story of just 24 hours alone in the COVID unit. The only healthcare worker there, of course, family not being able to come in to be with those that were suffering. So somehow the faith pulls you through, even those times of great fear and trepidation. And how do I do this again, being awakened in the middle of the night with nightmares about what they were experiencing. And it was heart-wrenching in a lot of ways, but we have this in-depth look that these heroes that we have were actually dealing with much of the same unknown and fear that we all have suffered from.
Okay, in this series, Instruments of Peace, Faith on the Front Lines, it's going on right now on YouTube, and some episodes coming forward after this?
That's right. We go through May 24th. Every Monday, we release a new story. And so you can go right now to YouTube through Our Daily Bread Ministries and watch the episodes that have already started and then follow it through.
Wonderful. Will Oechsler from Our Daily Bread Ministries. Again, the series is on YouTube, Instruments of Peace, Faith on the Front Lines, looking back at some of the most hard-hit areas over the pandemic of this last year. Thank you so much for your time, sir. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much.